careers have changed forever. The end of a 40-year career. Actually, I wanted to watch this. I was curious about this.
You were born, you are nurtured up to whatever, you're 6, then you get sent in the kindergarten and school, and by the time you're 18, you come out and you go to college. By the time you get out of college, you get a job, and then you retire with whatever, 65 or so, and then you enjoy your retirement somewhere at a hot place.
Wow, that sounds super exciting. I can't wait to do that. I remember whenever I was in like 2nd or 3rd grade and I realized this was the way life was played, I said, fuck that. I'm going to stay home and play video games my whole life.
Right? That's been the model of the past.
So boring.
That's not working. That is absolutely not working anymore, in every respect.
Go to school, get good grades, get into college, become a professional, and work your way up the corporate ladder until you can retire with your savings or a pension.
I think there's a lot of people that still do that. Like, I don't feel like this is, like, impossible to do or anything. Like, really, yeah, this still happens a lot.
Plan for a lot of people, and despite what a lot of hustle bros on the internet might tell you,
now that's f***ing insane.
It's a good plan if you can stick to it.
Yeah,
9 to 5 jobs are picked on a lot, usually by people that need a way to sell a get-rich-quick scheme. The standard 40-year professional career has let millions of people enjoy very comfortable lives free from the stress that comes with being in business for themselves. But that is all coming to an end.
Well, I think that, like, in general, working a 9 to 5 job has, like, values that's different than being self-employed and having, like, your own thing, like streaming. Like, you know, you have, like, very distinct on and off time. Whenever you work for yourself, if you're very invested in what you're doing and if you're successful at it, the odds are that you don't really have a lot of time off. There is time that you are working, and then there is time that you are thinking about or planning for working. And that's about it.
In just the last 24 months, we have experienced quiet quitting, quiet hiring, work shortages, and labor shortages. What a lot of people aren't talking about, though, is how this is just the result of companies still trying to make outdated business models work in an age where workers can demand more from their employers. The establishment of the 40-year career is crumbling, and there are some employers and employees that are doing a great job taking advantage of it, and there are others that are suffering. The first trend is that despite pervasive stories about hustle culture and people making partner before the age of 30 while also building an outside business that dropships physical NFTs through the MySpace storefront, the average worker is not grinding. They are
Well, most people are not grinding. Like, the truth is, I remember whenever I was in high school, and it's like, how do you think most people, you know, did in school? They didn't try at all. Like, they didn't know how to do math. They couldn't read. They were dumb as fuck. Like, yeah, I mean, that's really the truth. I mean, am I the only person that had that experience? And, like, I know what they're doing now. They weren't doing shit then. They ain't doing shit now. And in the future, they still ain't going to be doing shit. They're never going to be doing shit because that's all they give a fuck about is getting drunk, chilling, and that's it. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's totally fine. But I do think that, like, for a lot of people, if you go to work and you try to actually do your job, like, I've had, like, 2 serious jobs my whole life besides streaming. And in both of those jobs, if you go to work and try to do your job, you are automatically in the top 50%. Just by that. You showed up and you did the work. What the fuck? Oh, my God. Wow. Wow. And there's no like there's no like fucking bullshit. You're not complaining about something. You're not arguing with the manager constantly. You're not shitting on the floor of the bathroom whenever you don't get to take Friday off. Everything's fucking fine. Yeah, they like you. It's okay. Yeah, you're not pissing in water bottles. Everything's okay. Especially in a government job, yes.
Getting less ambitious. A Wall Street Journal article surveyed a range of businesses in demanding fields that are usually staffed by ambitious workers like law, business consulting, and marketing. The companies all reported challenges with getting their employees to go above and beyond, which is really corporate speak for working late and coming in on the weekends.
Yep.
A law firm told the Wall Street Journal reporters,
well, nobody wants to do shit that they're not going to get anything out of. And I think this is one thing that's happened. Is like, you guys have all seen the charts of like productivity and like worker wages, where like productivity is going up like this, and then worker wages are going like this, right? Nothing's changing, you know, adjusting for inflation. So like like you work your ass off. It's just like an office space, right? I work my ass off, and you're not going to see another dime. You're not going to make any more money. Maybe there's a promise that there's a potential that you might get promoted in the future. And the truth is, like, yeah, if you want to get promoted, work harder. The people that get promoted work harder more often than the people that don't, okay? All other things considered equal. Obviously, if it's the boss's brother, it's a different situation. But in general, working harder is a better idea if you want to be successful than not working harder. However, there are a lot of people that work hard, and they're not very good at working, and they get frustrated about that. That happens a lot. And I see people all the time. They say, oh, I grind every day. I work hard every day. I see this with streaming constantly. People, and they stream for 12 hours a day. And you know how long they're boring for? 12 hours a day. Cut it down, reevaluate what you're doing, and then after that, take a different approach. Because what you're doing isn't working. And there's a lot of people that beat their head against a wall, and then somebody else comes up next to them with a hammer, and they're going right through the wall. And they're like, wow, bro, what's this nepotism shit? Nah, man, you got to work smarter. Yeah, working hard is not the only thing you have to do. The people that are really successful work harder and work smarter.
That typically they would have no problem getting junior associates to do extra hours to make sure time-sensitive work was completed for their demanding clients.
Well, the reason why it's harder to get workers to do extra shit is because they can get other jobs. That's the reason. If, for example, they couldn't get another job, you could take advantage of them more easily. And that's why people in like fast food restaurants and Walmart get taken advantage of a lot more frequently than people that have higher end jobs, like an accountant or something like that. Because it's a lot easier to find a job. It's a lot harder to find a new guy who's a senior accountant that knows what the fuck they're doing versus somebody that can stock the produce aisle. I mean, you're like 3 or 5 years away from getting replaced by a robot. So yeah, you don't need a genius to be able to do this. So whenever you have somebody that's in a job that's easily fucking replaceable, you get treated worse because you're not as valuable. That's just the way it goes. But the reality is now there's so many of these people that are working in these positions, and the ways that you can leverage your knowledge is so much more broad with like different types of tech work, etc., that you don't have to sit there and take as much shit.
But now, new associates have started saying no to working weekends and late nights.
Good, they shouldn't. Fuck them.
Which is forcing the partners to bring on more staff and do the extra hours themselves.
Good. That's your fucking job. That's why you've got fucking 12% equity in the company. What the fuck do you mean? Oh my God, I can't believe I'm supposed to work harder at the company that I own. It's crazy. What do you expect? Yeah, I don't know what these people are thinking. Of course, if you make more money, you're going to have to do more stuff. You're an owner of the company. If you're a partner of the company, yes, you're going to have to work harder. God damn. I try to keep my employees happy. I once threw pizza parties once a week for AM and PM shifts, and it works pretty well to keep people motivated. You guys have a lot of things to do, right? I mean, if you want to keep people motivated at work, give them more money. That's my best. Give them more money. Don't treat them like shit. Do those two things, and that's it. You just do that. Don't be obnoxious. Don't be rude. Don't try to tell them to come in. Pizza parties are nice, too. Of course they're good. That's all you need to do.
Let me say this. As a former investment banking associate that has put in my fair share of weekends to suck up to a partner, this is one of the most beautiful things I have ever heard.
Yeah, of course.
It's wonderful. It's marvelous. I'm squeezed.
This kind of thing would never usually happen at places like this because elite legal and financial firms have an up or out policy with new associates, which means that within their first 2 years,
Yeah. Oh, they're gonna say. Yeah, I think the military has this with some things too.
They get promoted to senior associate, or they get asked kindly but firmly to leave the firm.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for the partners, they can't afford to get rid of new graduates because of worker shortages. So they have lost the threat of termination, and the reward of promotion isn't as appealing as it once was either. In the same article, an insurance firm told the Wall Street Journal of the difficulties they had been having with getting people to accept promotions. Managers often have—
Well, people don't want to take a fucking promotion. If it's like, you know, at Walmart, you know, you get promoted onto salary. The salary is $31,000 a year, and there's no overtime anymore. You know, you're doing the math in your head, and you're like, oh, fuck. Oh, this isn't looking good.
Had to coax their staff
now
into
you're there
accepting
80
more
hours a
senior
week,
positions
exactly.
because the staff were preferring to stay in their current roles where they could manage their work-life balance. When workers are more afraid of being promoted than being fired, it's a clear sign that things are changing. So it's time to learn how money works to see why the 40-year career is dead and why that might be a good thing. This week's lesson was made possible by Course Careers, which is honestly the perfect partner for this topic. The 40-year career might be dead, but it's ushering in a new style of career that you can be prepared for with Course Careers. If you want to start a career—
I wonder if they have a course career for being a TikToker. Like a famous YouTube influencer.
in the technology industry, but don't have previous experience or a degree, then Course Careers is here to help. They're replacing college as the modern way people are starting careers, and it's so simple. All you do is go through an affordable online course where you learn everything required to actually do the job. Then they help you land a position by partnering with companies who drop their degree and experience requirements to hire Course Career graduates in entry-level positions and internships. Checking out some of their stories of people like Nyla, who went from being a 19-year-old Starbucks barista to making over $60,000 in a remote technology sales career, or Ben, who went from being a college dropout working as a middle school janitor to making $80K as a tech sales rep working fully remote. Go to CourseCareers.com, link in bio, to sign up for their free introductory course, where you'll learn exactly how you can start a technology career without a degree or previous experience. Remember to use code WORKS50 for $50 off their full course. In 2020...
No, I don't think that's I don't think that's 100% not true. I don't think that's true. Like, obviously, if you're in sales, if he's making $80,000 a year, a lot of that might be commission based. So, like, you know, he was just a really good fit for that, or he made really good sales, he worked really hard, he got more money. So it's not a very, very good example. But I mean, in general, yeah, I think that there are a lot of people that could probably learn a specialized skill. Like there's some like medical specialized skills that are super efficient, and you can make a good amount of money with them. It's surprising to see.
Millions of people who were never allowed to before started working from home. By avoiding the distractions of the modern office, a lot of people realized that the tasks that they were completing as a part of their jobs were that of what the anthropologist David Graeber would consider complete bullshit. Most of the office jobs had workers performing tasks that fell into one of the following categories outlined in the book by the same name.
Bullshit
flunkies
jobs.
Who only serve to make their superiors feel important, i.e. receptionists, administrative assistants, and doormen. You don't need someone to hold the door for you when everybody is working from home, and a sales platform switching board to do most of the day-to-day work of a receptionist. Box tickers who only exist to create the appearance something useful is being done, like creating company newsletters or organizing company culture events. And taskmasters.
Yeah, there's stuff like that. I think that having culture events and like little kind of things to make people happy to go to work and, you know, hang out with the other people at work, some of that stuff does have value. It sounds kind of cringe, etc., but I've seen that in general it does help a little bit with like cohesion and morale, etc. It goes a little bit farther than you might imagine, even though it's stupid. It's stupid and it works.
Who exist to make themselves look busy by standing over their subordinates to keep them on task, but only ever end up distracting those workers or slowing them down because they themselves don't want to look like they have nothing left to do. Most jobs in the modern office involve doing some of these tasks, but by working from home, there's less need for them to exist. A lot of employees very quickly found out that they did not need 40 hours or more in the office every week to get their work done. They could just finish it in half the time, and all the other hours were wasted on pointless meetings that could have been an email and any of the other bullshit tasks that modern workers partake in. Work from home did not get rid of the goons.
Is that the way it was like for you guys? Yeah, though, like, you just spent all your time in fucking meetings, etc. Be honest, I don't want to burden my coworkers by having them know me. Yeah, exactly. God damn. I do like 5 hours of work every week. Well, that's pretty good. Yeah, how about that? It's 5 more than me.
Or people like corporate lawyers who only exist to protect the company from other goons, or the duct tapers, who are the people that spend all of their time fixing the problems of everybody else. So if you want bullshit job security, try and make yourself one of these. For the employees that found a whole lot of extra hours in their day, they now had to decide what to do with it. An internal survey of 3,000 workers conducted by the software firm Qualtrics has shown what it was that people decided to do. 40% said that work had become less important to them in the past 3 years, and that they would prefer to spend the extra hours exercising, cleaning their home, going for a walk, or sleeping when they had the opportunity to.
How about that? Thank fucking God. I think this is a great thing. Because, you know, I've made this very clear multiple times before, is that most of these people's jobs are going to be replaced by robots anyway. Like, you just need to accept that. So, like, you don't need to have this, like, massive fucking level of ambition whenever you're going to get replaced by a robot in 6 years. Who cares? Sleep in. Enjoy your life. Let the robot do the work.
25% said that work had become more important to them and that they would look for additional responsibilities to take on in the spare hours.
I would always do that whenever I worked at the IRS. I would constantly look for extra responsibilities that I could have, because in my mind, if I had a lot of responsibilities, they would be less likely to fire me. And I had like a number of like really big fuck ups at work, and not to mention like one time they brought around like a potluck thing, and I put that I would bring barbecued kittens to the potluck, and like all of the women that worked at the government there were very upset about this. They brought it to the manager. The manager he thought it was funny too, right? So like it didn't go anywhere. But like, if you want to be an asshole, which I am kind of an asshole, you have to work a little bit harder to like offset that. So it's still worth it to keep you around. Responsibility is power in a lot of regards.
Most of all, 36% said that their career ambitions had waned and that the typical progression of climbing the corporate ladder had become less important to them over the past 3 years.
It's also because it's much more common that people look for other jobs in other companies to get more money. Like in general, like you'll be able to make more money by leaving your job and then getting hired at another place. Like there were a lot of people, like for example, that worked at Blizzard that moved over to Riot because Riot paid more money.
Those are some pretty smart workers, and it was creating the same problem that the prestigious legal firms and investment banks were complaining about too. Most people are no longer willing to work extra hours and accept additional stress to chase a promotion. And a lot of workers won't even accept a promotion if they are offered one, because climbing the corporate ladder is not as appealing as it once was.
Thank God.
There are 4 reasons that business analysts have identified as the leading causes of this trend. The most damaging to traditional corporate culture is that people no longer see the financial benefits of moving up the corporate ladder.
Well, it's because people don't like, what are you going to get? What are you going to have? Like there's less of a focus. Like whenever I was younger, like maybe 15 years ago, 20 years ago, I feel like we had a much more materialistic culture 20 years ago than we do now. Now we still have a very materialistic culture, but I feel like it was much more like your value was built around like how much money you have, what car you drove, and that's still the case now. But I think that it's less the case. I think it's more materialistic now. I don't know, man. I really don't think so. We're more materialistic than ever. People don't give a shit now? I don't think people give a shit as much. I think the extremes have grown. That's probably a good point. Yeah, some people care about it more, some people care about it less. Personally, I feel like there's less of an emphasis on it.
Typically, managers and senior executives earn more than their subordinates, but modern salespeople, tech workers, and tradespeople are bucking that trend, especially in high-demand industries.
Well, that's what the reason why that's happened is because how many of you guys went to school And in high school, you were given the impression that if you didn't go to college, you would be a loser. You'd be out there working on a construction site on the side of the road while all of your other classmates drove to their important job. Yes, everybody got that. Well, guess what? It worked. And you know what happened? You have a bunch of fucking people that are lawyers or some sort of, financial analyst, and you don't need that many of them. And guess what happens whenever you have a bunch of fucking people that have a skill that is very valuable, but there's only so many slots for them? Well, you can fucking be even more stringent with what your requirements are. You can be even more picky, and you don't have to pick the 9 out of 10. You can wait for the 10 out of 10. And then at the same time, you have people that aren't plumbers, they're not electricians, they're not carpenters, and they're not welders, because being a welder is being a loser. Being a construction foreman is being a loser. Now, the construction foreman makes $180,000 a year, but you have somebody who's an accountant who makes half that, calling him a loser, because that's the way it works. I'm not even kidding. Like, that's how fucking stupid people are. How is that? The reason how it is it's because people, I think in our society, and this is changing, but it is in the process of changing, it has not changed. But there are people who have changed their viewpoint on this. In our society, physical labor is seen as lesser than mental labor. Like accounting, being a lawyer or something like that, being a scientist is seen as like being above physical labor. I think this is stupid because, like, anybody knows, like, I don't want to get into like a bunch of like lore or etc. about me, but like one of my cousins is like a construction manager, and like my uncle is like an architect, and so, like, I understand, like, kind of at least a little bit the pipeline of, like, how these things fit together. Bro, if you are a construction manager, it doesn't matter if you show up to the job in dirty jeans and, like, a fucking, like, overalls or shit like that. Like, these people know what they're talking about, and they know it really fucking well. Yeah, it's crazy to think that these people have no idea what they're talking about. Like, it doesn't mean that they're fucking geniuses or anything like that. No, there's plenty of people that are dumb, but they're good at their job. And being good at that job is extremely complex. Like, you go look at an air conditioning unit, look at the circuitry system, pull off the fucking side of it, and you're going to see a goddamn motherboard. It's not that different from a computer.
Workers are preferring to reskill into an in-demand role, where they can earn variable compensation based on the overtime hours they put in and the performance they achieve. People with experience in tech, pharmaceuticals, or finance could become managers, or they could cross-skill into sales and become salaried plus commission reps. They will get a lower base wage, but even average performers can earn $250,000 to $500,000 a year in commissions, putting them well ahead of any mid-level manager in the same industry.
Yeah, it's a
Doing
lot.
a role where they are not responsible for the performance of any subordinates also means that they are free from the stress of dealing with workers who don't want to put in any overtime or work towards getting a promotion.
Yeah, or you just have, the thing is, like, that's not really the problem that you have. Like, from my experience with dealing with people, is that if you have 30 people that you're dealing with, 80% of your time is with 5 of those people. Every single fucking time. Every time it's this one fucking person or 2 or 3 of these people that constantly have issues. They constantly have problems. There's always something wrong. They did something bad again. It is awful. Yeah, it's the 80-20 rule. Yep, it works on a lot of things, and this is one of them.
Instead, they are only responsible for themselves
just like
and their
old
work. If they want to make a lot more money one month, they can hustle like crazy and work on
Yeah, no one wants to be held accountable for another person.
closing more sales or doing more overtime. If they want more work-life balance, they won't be letting down a team beneath them. Skilled, non-managerial roles in certain fields and sales roles are also safer during financial slowdowns as compared to middle managers.
Well, it's also because you have more autonomy over what you're doing. Like, if you have a sales role and you're getting paid on commission, if you work harder, you make more money. It's that simple. That is a massive value for a lot of people.
A company can operate without team leaders, but it can't operate if nobody is selling its product. For young workers who have lived through 2 big downturns during their careers, a job that is safe during bad times is more valuable than a job that pays a little bit more. Some really cunning workers have made junior jobs significantly more lucrative than managerial jobs by simply working 2 of them. Working from home has kicked off a new trend that is particularly popular with tech workers who work 2 full-time jobs with 2 companies simultaneously and take home 2 salaries.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fucking smart. I've seen a lot of people doing this. Obviously, my viewpoint for this, some people say this is bad or it's unethical. I think that to a certain degree it is unethical. But it depends, right? Because yes, maybe it's unethical, but like, fuck them. I mean, if you ever are worried about affecting the job in like a bad way or, you know, doing something wrong, just say fuck them. That's the solution. That's the way I've always looked at it. Doesn't matter. Oh, well, fuck them. You know, oh, well, they're not going to like that. It's going to set them back. Oh, fuck them. Oh, well, you know, that could, you know, hold other people on the team back and it could make it to where people aren't able to get their stuff. Well, fuck them. Any problem, fuck them. That's it. Depends on the contract? Yeah, it depends on the contract. Like, I do think that it's probably a bad idea to take a job that explicitly asks you not to work another job and then do it anyway. Like, yeah, that's clearly unethical. But fuck them.
Online forums have sprung up in the past 2 years for workers to discuss this practice and share tips and tricks on how to find jobs that can be done in parallel and keep up with the workload once they've secured the roles. Some people on these forums claim to be working as many as 5 jobs simultaneously by committing 60 to 70 hours a week in their home offices.
Smart.
Just one job can be a lot of work, but highly experienced employees have claimed that the workload and stress of working 2 or 3 junior development roles is still less than working 1 senior development or team lead.
See, that's min-maxing right there. That's video game shit. See, this is smart. Like, they're min-maxing because it's like, you know, you spend 1 hour and you make $10, or you can spend 5 hours and make $40. Well, it's better to spend 5 hours at $1 every 10 hours, or sorry, $10 every 1 hour, than spend 5 hours and only get 40, even though you're getting paid more for the second one. You've got to be smarter with your shit, man. Like, that's the way I see it. Is like, I think this is so important to understand for a lot of people, is that being able to like min-max and break down how to actually accomplish something and get the most out of it. Does that make sense? Your math is wrong, but your concept is right? No, I don't think it was. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. That was not math. It is math. It's min-maxing.
Lead role. For motivated workers that want to put in the hours, the multiple job route is more financially rewarding, and it provides them additional job security because if they get laid off from one job, they still have 1 or 2 salaries to fall back on.
Yeah, exactly.
Ever since COVID started, what we've seen is that candidates are really only taking remote or hybrid jobs. To be competitive in this market, companies really do have to be either hybrid at the minimum or provide remote work opportunities.
Reason number 2 is that modern workers have more entrepreneurial ambitions.
What that means, having more entrepreneurial ambition, that means that they want to be TikTok stars.
The generations that came before them. The biggest selling point for young workers in the most prestigious firms in the country are not career advancements, but instead the exit opportunities. From my own experience at 2 different investment banks, most junior bankers do not want a career in investment banking, no matter how well compensated some senior bankers can be. Most banking analysts only want to work in the industry for 2 to 5 years and use that job experience to qualify as a role as a financial executive like a CFO for a medium-sized company or work.
Exactly, yeah. This is what I was saying before. It's just another version of working at one company and then going to another one at a higher salary. It's that simple. I have no ambitions. Well, you don't need to have ambitions. You just need to have goals. And like, to me, my goal was always, like, I don't think I'm ever really going to, I don't think I'm ever going to retire. Like, I don't ever plan on retiring. If I can physically continue making content and doing what I do, there's no reason to do that because I like doing it. It's like whenever I was a little kid, I would do this. I did it for fun, and I do it for fun now in a lot of ways. So yeah, I mean, but like that's only what I do.
In private equity or hedge funds, or they want to start their own company armed with the detailed industry knowledge on how to raise capital from investors and structure a business for growth. The entrepreneurial spirit is not only alive and well amongst finance bros, the rate at which people report wanting to start their own business has shot up to its highest level ever. There were a record 5.4 million business ID numbers created in 2021, with 2022 expected to have broken that record further. Sometimes entrepreneurship is not all that it's cracked up to be, and I would encourage caution to anybody thinking of giving up a stable 9-to-5 job to start their own business. But
yeah, I think caution is important, but at the end of the day, you gotta do what you gotta do. And if you want to go out and take a shot and do some crazy shit, do it. Fucking do it. And if it doesn't work, I mean, I don't know, like, who gives a fuck? You figure it out then. It doesn't matter. Yeah, do it. YOLO. Fuck it, man. Bad advice? For some people, yeah. For me, it was never bad advice. I always went, and it's like, oh, you shouldn't be able to do this. You can't do this. Bitch, watch me. I'll do it. It's like everybody always told you, you can't sit home all day playing video games and not getting a job. I said, watch me. It's going to happen. And I sat home all day. I collected financial aid. I got money in a few different ways. And I sat home pretty much all day, every day. I played video games. I didn't do shit.
Smart decision or not, people are doing it. Caution be damned. The third reason people are unwilling to chase promotions is because it ironically makes it harder for them to progress their career. This is a tricky one, so follow along here. Okay. The best way for someone who only wants to work the 9-to-5 job to increase their salary is to change companies every 2 years. Employees that stick with their companies for longer than that end up earning a mind-blowing 50% less than their peers who were less loyal and were constantly shopping around for better offers from different employers. The real trick is to do this while maintaining a good relationship with the companies and managers they move between.
Yeah, exactly. You have to always, lie to them, tell them whatever they need to hear, man. Do whatever you need to do to get ahead, because you fucking know the day that they're going to call you and say you're going to get fired, they're going to give you 2 weeks and they're going to say fuck off.
A promotion in a company resets the clock on when a smart employee can switch companies without leaving a bad impression with their current employer. If someone is planning to make the scheduled job hop, but they are only a month into their new role after receiving a promotion, they are unlikely to get a good reference from their outgoing company, because now that company has to find a new employee for a job that was only just filled. A bad reference from a frustrated ex-manager will make it harder to land the new job and negotiate a competitive salary. If the employee just stays in their current role and passes up any promotions, they can rely on a good reference from the same manager that they worked under the entire time. The fourth reason that people are no longer willing to work for a promotion is simply because they don't want them. More people are choosing mental health and free time over money and opportunity, because being removed from the corporate bubble has made them realize that there is much more to life than making as much money as they possibly can. A lot of young workers have become...
I remember whenever I first watched that movie, and I thought to myself, I'm like, yeah, bro, like, why couldn't you just do that? Yeah, I mean, damn. Yeah, less stress, way less stress. Great movie, Office Space. Yeah, me and Zach, we used to sit downstairs in my old room, and we would watch that movie, Clerks 2, and like Super Troopers, Clerks 1, a few other movies, Grandma's Boy, every fucking night. And after a while, it was like, yeah, why not just act like that? Seems good to me.
Become disenfranchised because they realize no matter how hard they work, they are going to struggle to achieve traditional financial goals like buying a house and having a normal retirement, so they are seeking out easy work and pursuing alternative lifestyles like video gaming or low-budget travel by living in a converted van. As more workers learn of these 4 reasons to reject the traditional career promotions, companies are going to have to face some big problems. Promotions are the biggest incentives that large...
Well, here's what the companies need to do, and this is especially true at Chipotle. Okay? I go to Chipotle over 50% of the time that I am at Chipotle, there is something from my burrito bowl that is missing. Whether it's beans, rice, there's no steak. There wasn't any steak yesterday. I had to get the other kind of steak. Oh, well, we're out of queso. How the fuck are you out of queso? It's 4 p.m. What are you doing? Oh, I know what you're doing. You're sitting in the back watching YouTube. And also you're playing music for each other, throwing your hat like a frisbee back and forth because you're too busy to doing that to cut the chicken. That's what they're doing. I see them doing it. And it's like, if I was working at Chipotle, I would be doing the same thing. Like, I'm mad at the situation because I want my burrito bowl. But I'm not really mad at them. They're just a product of their environment. I'd be doing the same fucking thing. The only difference is I'd be stealing shit from the store every day. Well, not every day, but like, you know, pretty as much as I could. You know, there's like a cool down on it. But yeah, Bill Burr, I mean, I don't know about that. It's just like minimum wage Andes. Yeah, fuck that. Like, why even waste your time once a week? Yeah, there you go. Because fuck the customer. Yeah, one of them, one of the guys, like, they gave me free food because they watched my stream. And I was like, man, oh my God, like, these are the guys that are like, these guys are messing up Oldawar. And then I go to Chipotle, they're messing up the burritos too. Like, oh my God, these guys just don't give a fuck. And they don't. Like, they straight up do not give a fuck. They just go and do whatever they want.
Companies have to motivate non-executive level employees.
But like, what companies have to do, the point is, like, companies have to just, like, fucking automate these jobs. Like, they have to automate these jobs. Like, nobody wants to make burrito bowls for a living. People don't want to do that. They want to do something more than that. And it's like, these guys, they are working at Chipotle because they had a GPA of 1.9. They didn't get accepted into college. And now they're working there while they're, you know, doing like community college to get like, you know, some sort of 2-year degree. That's what they're doing. That's what's going on. This is not a career for them. This is a paycheck, and that's it.
To do more than the bare minimum to not get fired. The promise of a promotion, if targets are met, is often cheaper than performance-based bonuses. Some companies pay their executives extremely high salaries, not because of the hard work they do, but because they want all of their employees to work like crazy for the chance that they too one day could be a fat cat.
And that's a good idea too. You always want to be very conspicuous whenever somebody gets paid a lot of fucking money for doing something good, because it gets everybody else to do the same thing. A good way to do that in WoW is to give people like the, you know, the big legendary item or something like that. That way you can make people compete with each other. Give service workers free college and UBI, and the economy will slightly improve. I remember, bro, like, y'all remember this shit back in COVID, whenever everybody was getting that government money, and everybody was like, man, this is so nice that, you know, these people don't have to work and, you know, they can stay home from COVID. And then Taco Bell didn't open. And then everybody was like, man, these benefits are too much. This is too much. This is causing inflation. Bitch, you don't even know what inflation is. You just are mad that Wendy's is closed. That's it. Yeah, you got to get them back to work, man. Like, this is this can't last.
Of digital marketing, and you get offered a promotion that's in IT because digital marketing has a lot of technical skills. Then should I step out into IT if my goal is to be the CMO? And the answer is no, right? So if it's going to take you off your long-term path, you don't want to do that.
If people don't want the promotions or see that they will never make it to the level where they make more money for less work, then the whole system stops working and it spells the end of the traditional career. Workers have also realized that hard work...
Yeah, it's like in a video game, right? It's like people don't want to level up and play through, like at the beginning of New World, right? Why does somebody want to level all the way up to 60 in New World if all they have to look forward to is running Genesis and farming Watermark? It's like in WoW, it's like if you get all the way up to level fucking 60, you get to do Molten Core. You could get your tier gear. You've got fucking, not Shadowmoor, fucking Thunder Fury. You know, yeah, that's what it is. If there's no good in game, nobody's going to want to play the game.
alone will never make them a CEO, and becoming a highly compensated chief executive requires a totally different strategy from what you might expect.
And I think also there's a lot of people that assume that the leadership in companies don't do any work. So like their idea of being a CEO is telling other people what to do. Right? I mean, because like they're stupid. Like what the fuck do they know? So big surprise, that's what they want to do.
With an engineering degree instead of a business degree people would expect. If you want to find out the other 6 steps that 80% of Fortune 500 CEOs took to land their multi-million-dollar roles, then go and watch my video.
Step 1. Dad owns a company. I mean, it definitely helps, right? I mean, I will absolutely say this, is that people that work hard are successful more often than people that don't work hard. I see all the time, there's these people that have this mindset that because they don't have, you know, their dad isn't a billionaire that owns a company, that like they're never going to work hard and it doesn't matter if they work hard. You're fucking stupid. You've still got to work hard because if you don't, somebody else is going to. But there's other ways to be successful too.
On how to become a CEO. A special thanks again to Course Careers, who's preparing people for this new type of career, for making it possible for everybody to keep on learning how money works.
Did you hear me? I said I quit, Monty! And since I quit, I can do anything I want.
Is that so?
Oh, I hope I haven't upset you. Bongo head!
Okay, alright, let me see. Let me read a few of the comments on this. That's pretty fucking funny. Simpsons used to be so fucking good, man. There's no reason to go above and beyond anymore if you're just getting handed extra responsibilities with fairly meager pay increase and even less work-life balance. I'm glad that younger workers are waking up to this and not sleepwalking through life like their parents did. Yep, that's very true. I totally agree with that. My father worked for 40 years at one company. He retired in 2021. Pandemic hit a few months later. He had to do a little traveling. Passed away from a stroke in 2022. Retirement's never guaranteed. It's extremely stupid to live your life that way. Yeah, I totally agree. I think that you should do what's best for you. That's my that's my outlook on life. Do what's best for you. You can't let anybody, you can't be fucking going and trying to help somebody else, doing other people's stuff, trying to, you know, be part of the team. Yeah, you can be part of the team as long as the team is part of you. And the moment that diverges or you're working against your own best interests, it's time to find a new team. Yeah, you got to survive, exactly. As well as one of the few capital owners on the side of labor, although we disagree on a lot, I appreciate the empathy. Well, yeah, obviously I have, like, you know, I'm successful in, like, my own ways, but, like, this is just what works, right? I mean, like, that's just, that's how it works. And it's just, you can get mad about that. You can get, you know, like, upset or whatever. Like, and I'm sure, like, there are business owners that cry about this all the time. But I don't think business owners should cry about it at all. You're going to replace half of these clowns with robots anyway. Isn't it better to not have to pay them? Yeah, just already start planning for that, man. Stop thinking that, like, oh, this is just always how it's going to be. And I can tell you why a lot of these people are going to, you know, they're not going to see things that way. It's because a lot of the people, there are smart people that work in leadership. But there's a lot of people that are fucking stupid. And they don't understand things. And so, of course, they're going to have that viewpoint. Yeah, billionaires crying on national TV during the pandemic. Well, I don't know about that. The world's been changing a lot lately. And it will continue to change. Absolutely. What do we do for all these workers when robots take over? Well, I don't know. I mean, you could, you know, invent a new pandemic, or maybe just have universal basic income. I feel like those are the two outcomes, right? Yeah, I mean, that's about it. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I can't see any other outcome. This expects people to do nothing. Yeah, there you go. UBI is legit the play now. Well, you could have a new version of like feudalism or slavery or something like that. Maybe we could have that instead. It just kind of depends on how things happen. I think that the less we plan for the inevitability of automation, the more slavery is a possibility. Does that make sense? Yeah, I think so. Nope. Modern slavery thing? Yeah, I don't think it's going to be slavery like the, maybe slavery is not a good word for it. I think feudalism. Yeah, much more like feudalism. So not necessarily slavery, but like 1 or 2 steps above that. Yeah, serfs. Yeah, serfs. More work? Yeah, those guys. Got too base there for a second? I don't know about that. We have wage slavery now? Yeah, I don't really completely buy that. I think that's a little bit odd. That's why I scaled it back. I've been very critical of people who equate things that are not slavery to slavery. And that's why I was like, yeah, it's probably not slavery. Because you gotta remember, you know, what they used to do with slaves is they would pull their teeth out so white people could use them instead. Like, I'm sorry, but like your boss being mean to you at Walmart is not in the same universe as that. It's just not. Stop it. You just make yourself sound ridiculous. Are you fucking serious? Oh, that's like one of the, on the spectrum, that's not even that bad. They would also intentionally separate families to break the spirits of the slaves so they would be more subservient. And of course, like, they had, like, a bunch of, like, weird, like, pseudoscience to rationalize all of these things. Yeah, it's absolutely brutal. Yeah, being paid a low wage at a job that you can quit whenever you want is, not the same thing. It devalues the argument. Yeah, exactly. Pulling teeth out is not the same as slavery, though, if you want to determine something as slavery. Pulling teeth out is fundamentally slavery, because it means that you do not have autonomy of your own body, and you cannot consent or lack or not consent to things done to your body. If you cannot decide what can and cannot happen to your body in that way, you are a fucking slave. I mean, I don't know what to say.